Hey, this is Scott, and today we're going to take a look at the Sennheiser XS wireless system. So just to address the elephant in the room, obviously, soon after this was released and soon after I got this, Rode announced their Wireless Go system, which is much more compact, which this was one of the big selling points of the XS system, as well as how small it was. And then Rode kind of overdid that with an even more compact system, and a lot of people have been comparing the two, and a lot of people have been saying that they think that the Rode is going to blow the Sennheiser out of the water, and I disagree. I think they both have their strong pros and strong cons, and I want to talk about that today. I do not have the actual Rode system here in my hands because in Japan it's not yet approved to be sold, so I will hopefully be getting my hands on that when it is approved here in Japan. But for now, I just want to talk about things that I've seen based on other reviews of the Wireless Go system and how they compare in a more factual way, not so much my personal impressions of it. So one huge pro of the XS system over the Wireless Go, which you can see here, is the fact that there's just so much included in this system. It's not just a wireless lav mic system. Of course, there is the 3.5mm transmitter wireless lav mic and the 3.5mm receiver for that system, but you do also have XLR transmitters, you have XLR receivers. You also have what's not pictured here, a 1/4-inch version, which would be great for things like guitar, and all of that can be, cross convertible. So you can use, for example, the 3.5mm lav mic and use it together with the XLR receiver, or vice versa. You can use the XLR transmitter on a microphone like this, which is the Sennheiser MKE600, and you could send it to your receiver right here, which will go into your 3.5mm jack on your DSLR. So you can mix and match all of these really easily. So if you have multiple kits, it's going to be a very versatile system. Whereas the Rode Wireless Go is not quite as much of a system as it is just a wireless lavalier mic. Also, while I haven't held the Rode Wireless Go in my hands, I just get the feeling that this is going to be a bit more high quality. Of course, this is plastic, but all of these parts feel really rugged. I mean, once you hold them in your hand, they're really tough feeling. These will definitely be able to take a bit more of a beating, and I think in that way, these are going to be a little bit more of that professional grade equipment compared to the Rode Go. I'm not saying these are the top quality on the market. Obviously, these are plastic, and these are still, I guess, on the consumer end of things, but considering that, these are very well made. They feel great. They definitely inspire confidence in the fact that I think I will be able to kind of use and abuse these a bit more without having to worry about them. Another big difference that people have been pointing out between this system and the Wireless Go, as you can see here, there's absolutely no interface whatsoever on here besides this single button, and you have an LED light. And the Rode Wireless Go has a pretty good little screen on there that gives you a lot of information. And while I originally thought that was a huge pro for the Rode Wireless Go, and it's definitely not a negative, that is really great that they have such a nice little screen on there, I actually think that these are really quite easy to use once you get the hang of it, once you learn how to use it. And it's only a couple of different things that you really need to do with it anyway. You press this button for a couple of seconds to turn it on, to turn it off. If it's already on, you press it once to mute it, and you can do that from the transmitter or from the receiver, which is great. If you hold it down for about 5 seconds from the power off state, it will blink green and red, and that means it's pairing. So if you want to pair this up with a new receiver, then you can do that. They come paired out of the box, but for example, if you want to mix and match, just hold it down from the state of being powered off, hold it down for about 5 seconds. Once it's blinking green and red, it's pairing. Do that to both the transmitter and the receiver. They'll pair up automatically. When they're steady green, it means that they're connected, and that's really all there is to it. One downside of that for the Sennheiser system is that there's no gain adjustment on here, and this is actually a pretty hot signal, which means that if you're going into a camera which cannot pull the in-camera audio back enough, like the GH series from Panasonic, for example, this is going to be a little bit too hot for you, and it's going to be difficult not to clip your audio. Whereas with the Rode Go, you can actually pull those levels down a bit, so you can work together with a wider range of cameras in the fact that this is a little bit too hot in some cases. If you're using a Canon camera or something that can pull back the in-camera audio a bit more, or an external recorder, which usually is able to do that as well, it's not going to be an issue at all. But if you are working with those GH cameras, which are of course very popular, that is going to give you some issues, and in that case, the Rode system is going to be the better choice for you. The wireless lav kit here does also come including this lavalier microphone, and this is a locking connection here, which is really great. That's something that the Rode Wireless Go does not have. There's a locking connection on the 3.5mm transmitter and receiver, as well as the microphone. That's going to give you a really secure connection. And actually, the quality of this microphone is really, really nice. I really like it. It's a very, very good frequency response. It sounds really nice. This is just a quick clip to show you how the Sennheiser lav mic that's included in the lav mic kit sounds. I'm not in a really quiet environment, but hopefully this will give you some idea just of how the mic sounds, just bare and by itself with no windshield or anything else on there, recording into the EOS R. The only downside is they didn't include any external windshield or wind cover, anything like that. With that, it's just the standard little clip here, and that's about it. There is, I think, separately available those covers for that, but if you want to use this and you're dealing with wind noise, that's going to be something you need to think about. I really, really like the design of the Rode Wireless Go, where it has that little clip that you can clip onto things, but that will also double as a hot shoe mount. That's really, really a genius design to keep everything really, really minimal, to keep everything really low profile, and just very simple. Here you have some little mounts that you will clip or slide these into, like this one right here, which is the hot shoe mount. And these actually work really great too. So it's obviously going to be a little bit less compact or a little bit less low profile than the Rode system. But you know, this belt pack or cold shoe mount, for example, I think they work just fine, and I have absolutely no complaints about that. I actually really like it. I don't necessarily see that as a pro or a con to either system, despite the fact that I really do like the way Rode designed that. The battery life on the Rode, I believe, is a bit longer than the Sennheiser, which, you know, it's not a huge difference, but since these are both unchangeable batteries, these are internal rechargeable batteries, you're going to want to be aware of that battery life. They can both be charged while you're using them, and this does come with one cable here. It's a USB-C cable. You can charge this while using them, and I've been using it actually that way, plugged into my V-mount battery on my shoulder rig. Just keep it plugged in with this XLR connector, and you know, things are always charged that way. But this does only include one cable in the kit, whereas Rode comes with two cables, so you can use those with both the transmitter and the receiver if you need to, either while using them or just to charge them up after a day of use. That is a nice little pro, but of course, you know, again, if you get multiple kits of these, you're going to have multiple cables as well, so depending on how you're using it, depending on how concerned you are about that battery life, that may be a plus or a minus for either of these systems. One other thing to note about this XLR transmitter is that it does not provide phantom power, so you're going to need a microphone like this MKE600, which has internal battery power. It's not going to power your microphone for you, and that's kind of a bummer. It limits the number of microphones that you can use this with, but again, if you have something like this MKE600, which does have that internal power, there are microphones from Rode as well, for example, that have that internal power, then you're going to be all set, and that's going to be a really, really nice pair for you. The way that it works with this microphone in terms of the physical design, it just looks like an extension of the microphone there, and I think it's going to give you a really, really sleek wireless boom mic, for example. And again, it's very simple to use. You don't need to worry about, you know, taping or rigging up any other external transmitter onto your boom pole. It's all right here connected to your microphone, and again, it doesn't add a whole lot of size to that. It's just gonna fit right in line with your microphone. I really, really like that, despite the fact that it doesn't provide phantom power. On that note, speaking of the physical design here, like I said, the Rode Wireless goes really, really compact, and it does totally just, you know, shut this down in terms of the absolute most compact system. However, you know, it's really being nitpicky, because until that moment, this was so compact, and then suddenly Rode announced, you know, a new system, and everybody's like, oh my god, it's so much smaller. But that doesn't mean this is not small. This is still very compact, and, you know, for example, this sitting on top of your camera is still going to be a lot smaller than a lot of the other receivers on the market. And you know, this sitting on your belt is going to be a lot smaller than a lot of the other transmitters. So although yes, the Rode system is more compact, this is still very compact, and if you're picking one over the other because of that, I think that's a really silly reason to choose something. However, these are all just straight designs, including this XLR receiver, and this one in particular has been giving me some issues because of the fact that the way it plugs in, it's just going to be sticking straight out from whatever you plug it into. If you plug it into a camera, it's going to be sticking straight out on the side, and depending on the angle of where your XLR connector is, that can be kind of awkward, and I've been worried about bumping it and breaking it in that way. And the same with, you know, for example, the Zoom F4 recorder. This is going to plug into the side, and it's going to be sticking out really, really awkwardly, and again, it's going to be really easy and be really prone to bumps and things like that because of that physical design. Well, the other ones don't bother me so much, especially the XLR receiver. I do wish that this was a 90-degree connector, or at least something that could bend and spin, even maybe like some other external antennas sometimes can, just to make it a little bit more pleasant to use just in the form factor. with a lot of things that have XLR connectors, sticking out from the side. As far as the actual performance, I think you're going to get a very similar performance out of this and the Rode Wireless Go system. They both have systems built into these where they're going to, scan and frequently hop to different channels to provide you with the clearest possible signal without having any interference. And I have found that to be very true with these. They haven't dealt with any interference whatsoever. They've been a very stable connection in all reasonable situations. This system in particular is rated up to about 70 meters with a clear line of sight, and I actually found that to be incredibly accurate. I'll show you the test in just a moment, but literally as I was walking away, as I literally took the step of the 70th meter, it dropped out. So I mean, that's an incredibly accurate range assessment from them. I want to quickly test the performance outdoors here to test the range of this system. I have the Sennheiser microphone right here under my shirt. I'm using the transmitter on my back belt loop. It's right behind my body here. I have the XLR receiver on my Canon C200, and I'm just going to walk back. I have about 75 meters or so of distance behind me, which is right around where they say the system can work up until. So we'll see if it can go that whole way, and if not, how soon it will drop out. As I walk away, of course, having this transmitter on the back of my body means it's going to be facing the camera, so there's not really going to be a whole lot of interference. There's not really any Wi-Fi networks in this environment. There's only one, that's my house, so I don't think it's going to cause too much of a problem at all. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So now I'm at 60 meters, 61, 62, 63, 64, 65, 66, 67, 68, 69, 70. So 70 meters is about keep that connection there. As I walk a little bit further though, go out of line of sight, the corner of the building might come in the way, but still we're just gonna keep walking and see how far we can go here. So now we're at 90 meters, and this is about as far as I can go. I can still more or less see the camera, but it's not as clear of a line of sight as it was before. The transmitter is still on my back, which is closer to the camera, so if you can still hear me, this is at 90 meters, which is over their range that they claim this can work at. With both of these kits, and I've seen this in other tests as well for the Rode Wireless Go, having your body in the way is going to cause a little bit of interference, and that's going to make the range drop dramatically. So about 20-25 meters I found with this, when you have your body turned in a way that your body is blocking the signal from the transmitter and the receiver. Again, I've seen pretty much the same thing with the Rode system in other people's tests. So now we will turn around, and so that way the transmitter is behind my body away from the camera, so that way it's going through my body, which will probably cause some interference, and we'll see how that works as I walk back towards the camera. Voice is coming back into being connected to the camera here, and I'm sorry, I'm just rambling, trying to keep talking as I come closer. I'm sure at this point you can hear me already. I've used it out here before and I've had no problems, so here I am back right up close to the camera, and I'm sure at this point you can hear my voice again. We'll go in and take a look at that on the computer and see how the performance did. I've also found this to work pretty well inside the house, going through walls and things like that. I've walked from one end of my house to the other, and I've had no problems with it. And yeah, continuing further, I'm about 25, maybe 20-25 meters. So going through those few walls, that's pretty much as far as I can get, I think, in my house, and that's the most number of walls I can get separation-wise. Not sure if this is still connected or not. I've even gone from outside to inside through the thick walls of my house, and it stayed connected. I didn't expect it to stay connected, but when I listened to the audio later on, it actually stayed connected the entire time. Now I'm gonna try and do it without, and then I'll see what. Oh! Well, that was unexpected. So, in a lot of cases, this is going to be a very, very reliable system, but I found that your body between the transmitter and the receiver is what causes the most interference, more than walls, more than even wireless systems in the area, because this deals with those things very, very well. So just be aware of that and have realistic expectations, and I think in terms of performance, you can expect basically the same thing out of both of these systems. So again, that's not a reason to pick one over the other. If you have questions or comments, as always, leave them down below and I will do my best to get back to you. I will also put a link down there when the Rode system is available for me to test out. I'll put a link to that review video as well when it is ready. And if you like this video, as always, don't forget to give me a thumbs up, subscribe to see more in the future, hit that bell icon to get notifications when that new content is uploaded, and as always, thank you for watching.